Heisman contenders, March Madness Cinderellas, Olympic-level talent. The energy of college athletics is unmatched. And every week, we highlight the most incredible performances, the biggest upsets, and the breakout stars that will become the next generation of professional legends. If it's trending, if it's dominating the headlines, it is officially noteworthy. Get ready for your all-access pass to the collegiate sports world. Welcome to Noteworthy in the NCAA, brought to you by the Empty the Bench Network. Now, let's join your host, Will Charlton.
Episode of Noteworthy in the NCAA here on the Empty the Bench Network. I'm your host, Will Charlton. Happy to have you with us on Monday, March 2nd. Yes, the best month of the year is upon us, and the madness is soon to begin. We will have a bracket in less than 2 weeks on the men's side, and man, oh man, it's a fun time to be a college sports guru. And a college sports fan in general. But before we dive into the show today, make sure to follow us on social media across all platforms at ETB Network. That's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter /X, whatever it may be. Make sure to watch all of our Empty the Bench shows on youtube.com/ETB Network. Like and subscribe to all of our shows. And you can follow me on Twitter at Will Charlton H13, and then on Twitter or on Instagram and TikTok at Will Charlton TV. And then make sure to also follow the main podcast that I'm a part of, Forever Power 5 at FP5ETB on Twitter and Instagram, and then on TikTok at Forever Power 5, no caps or spaces. So yes, the month of March is here. We are very pumped to be in the month of madness, and I'll tell you what, hearing that NCAA on CBS theme yesterday, it felt pretty nice, you know. When the clock struck midnight on Saturday night, heading into Sunday morning, hearing the da 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 da, like this, something about that was just oof. It hits every time March 1st comes around. And before we really take a dive into what's going on lately in college basketball, well, I guess this is probably the biggest headline, actually. Chad Baker-Mazara has been kicked off the USC basketball team. And I think that this is hilarious for a handful of reasons. One, he's 26. He's 26 years old and was still playing college basketball. So that's kind of the main thing here. It's like, you're 26 and still playing college basketball. Like, I don't understand how, I spelled his name wrong. Whoops. Let's change that real fast. I don't really understand how he was able to get through all these different loopholes that the NCAA has allowed for him. And, I don't get how on earth he's been able to, get around all these things where like he's got these court things that allowed him to play and whatnot. And he's been very good for USC this year when he's been healthy. Obviously, when he hasn't been healthy, USC has struggled pretty mightily. But think about this. Chad Baker-Mazara was a part of the Final Four Auburn team last year, and he was 25 then. So then he somehow finds a way to still be eligible for college basketball this year. And he wins the Maui Invitational Tournament MVP with USC. Granted, that tournament was not nearly as good as it usually is because the Players Era is becoming kind of the premier preseason or early season tournament, if you will. And apparently, like, what was going on was USC didn't give a reason why he was dismissed from the program. But it's kind of, I had to think there's something behind the scenes. Like maybe he was under a lot of pressure just because of how old he was, and he's been in and on the lineup with like health issues and whatnot. So maybe Eric Musselman just got to a point where it's like, look, you're not going to be here any longer anyway. Just leave and go pursue professional opportunities if that's what you want to go do. I'm sure he will be ended up playing professionally somewhere. It just cracks me up that he was still in college as a 26-year-old, 18th year senior, it feels like. But no, there have been so many like funny posts on Twitter about it. If you scroll through the Twitter feed about Chad Baker-Mazara, there are so many like parody accounts that are just making fun of this, saying like he forged his birth certificate wrong, or they found out his birth certificate was wrong, or saying that like I don't know, but yeah, there's been a handful of things you guys can easily go find on Twitter. So yeah, this is probably one of the bigger headlines. I mean, USC is not a tournament team, so I don't really know how much this really matters anyway. They're probably going to be playing in that college basketball crown tournament more than likely, but it's hilarious that, you know, it gets to this point where he's expected to like kind of be like the main guy for USC this year. And obviously that's kind of more so been taken over by Elijah Arenas, Gilbert Arenas' son. But USC is just, there's really not a whole lot there. I mean, they're on a bit of a slump. They just lost, I believe it was by 15 at home to Nebraska the other day on Saturday. And, yeah, they're not a very special team at all. So maybe this is just a sign that Chad Baker-Mazara was too like toxic around the team or something like that and just had to go. But I'm not going to make speculations because I really don't know what's going on. But yeah, I mean, this is the biggest headline here, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see like what is next for him, because I know for a fact it's not college basketball. I don't think. I mean, shoot, in this day and age, you can't say that it won't be college basketball, because next thing you know, he'll be playing for like, he'll be at another college. I don't know. There's no way. I mean, with like the whole Charles Bediako thing, when he was able to get that like temporary restraining order to play for Alabama, then that ends up being reversed, and then he's kicked off the team. This whole modern day and age of like the NIL situation is just, it's so dumb. I mean, it is just like, it's so perplexing to me that, you know, you're able to still play college basketball after you're like 23 years old. Like, and there are so many players out there who are like 24, 23, 24, 25, like, well, I don't know about 25, but I think that's kind of the range where it starts getting a little like, that's where it's kind of a dime a dozen. But 26, like he turned 26 this season, so I don't know. I mean, it's pretty mind boggling. What year was he exactly? Like, so USC was Baker-Mazara's fifth school. So he has played for Duquesne, San Diego State, then went to Northwest Florida State College, and then Auburn, and now USC. So yeah, he's played at 5 schools in his collegiate career. That's just mind-boggling. So maybe he was allowed to play because he went the JUCO route. I think Northwest Florida State College is a JUCO route. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the biggest news that just broke. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday that just broke. So yeah, that's the most recent news going on here. But as we are getting ready to have a bracket here with conference tournaments starting up this week, we will have our first conference champions this weekend. I believe, let's see, is it Friday or Saturday night? We got our first conference champions crowned. So Saturday night, we'll have the Ohio Valley, the Big South champions crowned. And then on Sunday, the Missouri Valley in the Arch Madness tournament will be crowned. Watch out for the Belmont Bruins, by the way. They're kind of like the consensus pick to probably win that conference. The A-Sun will crown a champion on Sunday. The Summit League will crown a champion on Sunday. And then next Monday, the SoCon, the Sun Belt, will crown champions. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 automatic bids to the NCAA tournament by not this time next week, but by the end of day next week. So super exciting stuff to think about when you start seeing that grid that March Madness posts on social media, automatic qualifiers starting to get filed in. Man, oh man, it is a fun time of year. So with that in mind, I want to get into talking about who can win it all, because college basketball is so top heavy this year once again. But the thing is, there probably won't be a whole lot of upsets like last year, but there could be some more chaos. Like a 4 seed probably can beat a 1 seed this year, which wasn't really the case last year. Like obviously you had some tight games, like Purdue lost at the buzzer essentially to Houston. Florida got a scare from, well, that wasn't really Maryland. That was more Texas Tech in the Elite Eight and UConn in the second round. They kind of handled Maryland. Let's see. Did Duke struggle with the 4 seed at all? No, they played Arizona and they beat them pretty handily. So it was Florida, Houston, Duke, and then why am I blanking on who the other 1 seed was? Oh, Auburn. Yeah. I'm trying to remember who Auburn played in the Sweet 16 last year. It's not coming to me right now. It's not coming to me. But anyways, yeah. So like, for instance, like Auburn played Michigan State in the Elite Eight last year. Florida had to come back against Texas Tech late in the game in order to beat the Red Raiders in the Elite Eight. Duke, I believe they steamrolled past Gonzaga in the Elite Eight. I think that sounds right. And then Houston, yeah. And then Houston played, who'd they play in the Elite Eight? So they beat Purdue in the Sweet 16. Then I'm kind of having a casual moment here, folks. Sorry. I'm blanking out who they played. But regardless, like when you look at the top 16 seeds that were revealed, and like we talked about last year or last week on the show, I kind of look at like that top 12 as teams that will be, in that hunt for Final Four runs, but not all of them can win a national championship. So when you're talking about teams that can win it all, I think it's a pretty small group. And KenPom is obviously, we talk about KenPom a lot in this show. KenPom is kind of and I'll share my screen here so you guys can see the current KenPom rankings. And this is going to be a very, like important thing to keep in mind here. So you see the top 10 right here in KenPom, right? These are the numbers you want to look out for: offensive rating and defensive rating. So looking at a team like Duke, who's number 1 in KenPom, Duke can absolutely win it all and more than likely will be the favorite because they have that win over Michigan, who also very well can win it all. I believe the stat is all national champions in the last, or 20 of 21 national champions in the last 21 tournaments have had a top 20 offense and a top 20 defense in KenPom. So you're looking at teams like Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Florida, who is playing out of their minds right now. Illinois does not fall in that category. So Illinois is not one of those teams right now. And it pains me to say this, but Illinois is not one of those teams right now who I think can win it all just because of the lack of defense they have. Houston definitely can win it all. Iowa State, I don't think I'm putting them in that category. I don't think so. They have the top 20 offense and the top 10 defense, but I just think like when you look at this Iowa State team, there's a little too much inconsistencies there. Like, can they win it all? Yes, they can based off the numbers, but I don't think they're a team who I think will. Purdue cannot win a national championship. I cannot see them doing that. Michigan State, they can't either just because of their offense. UConn, the thing is, UConn absolutely can, but they're a weird team. So I think when you're talking about like for instance, UConn just played Seton Hall and had to scrape by them to get the win the other day, which is kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't even put this up here. I apologize. You haven't even seen the KenPom rankings. So yeah, no, sorry. So these are the numbers you want to watch out for: offensive rating and defensive rating. And like I said, Duke, they got the best defense in country, 6th best offense. Michigan's 2nd best defense, 4th best offense. Arizona, 3rd best defense, 8th best offense. Florida, 11th best offense, 4th best defense. But Illinois, number 5. Like, look, Illinois has analytically had one of the best, if not the best, offenses in college basketball history. The problem is, when you look at a game like Michigan, where they just lost pretty badly on Friday night, the final score was only 14 points, but Michigan, I believe, was up by around 20 in the second half. It was as much as 20 or 25, something like that. Illinois' weaknesses need to be figured out ASAP, because if they want to become a team who can probably be in that category of winning a national championship, can Illinois get to a Final Four? Yes, Illinois can get to a Final Four. I just don't think Illinois can win the Final 2 as well. But the thing is, with a team like Illinois, who's probably going to be a 2 seed, could be a 3 seed if they slip up to a team they shouldn't the rest of the way, they're going to have to play a 1 seed to get to the Final Four. And they're going to have to play a 3 seed to get to the Final Four. So, or a 2 seed, I guess, in that aspect as well. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough for them with the defensive number right there, because the defense is what, like, their offense is so good. Like, the offense is analytically fantastic. I mean, you look at the second best offense, it's Purdue. Illinois is 2.5 points higher on the offensive rating than the second best team in the country, and that's a wide margin. I mean, that is a wide margin. Like, because, I mean, for instance, let's look at between 2 and 3. Purdue is number 2 at 129.9, and at 3 is Alabama at 129.7. That just shows the separation between Illinois and Purdue on the offensive side. Illinois has analytically one of the best offenses we've ever seen in the sport. In the game against Michigan, though, that was not the case. But regardless, so yeah, when you're talking about teams who can win it all, I'm talking Duke, I'm talking Michigan, I'm talking Arizona, I'm talking the defending national champion Florida, Houston, and UConn. I think those are the 6 teams who, talking about, like, one, recency bias with Florida and UConn especially, but then, like, just Duke has it, Michigan is just stacked, Arizona has shown they are very strong. And then Houston is just, if they start to click like they did, they had the three straight losses before they ended up destroying Colorado on Saturday. Houston can definitely be in that conversation. So, and then now for teams that are right on the doorstep of making it, Illinois is certainly the highest team on that list, just because of how the numbers respect them a lot. If Illinois can find a way to creep into that, like, top 25 defensively heading into the tournament, things will be looking a little bit better for the Illini. But as of right now, like, Illinois has a lot of issues to clean up, because Illinois went 4-4 in February after winning 12 straight games. And granted, 3 of those losses were either without Andre Stojakovic or Kylan Boswell, or both. In the case of the overtime loss to Wisconsin at home, both of them were out in that game. But then when you look at this game against Michigan and the UCLA loss, 2 of those losses were only without one of Kylan Boswell or Andre Stojakovic, or both. And so Illinois was fully healthy against UCLA, where it had a 23-point lead early on in the game. They lose in overtime by a game-winning bucket by Donovan Dent, and then they get steamrolled at home by Michigan. So Illinois has a lot of things to clean up. Andre Stojakovic needs to figure out what's going on, because he's looked terrible in the last 2 games. The big guys, Thomas Slav and Zvonimir Visic, need to figure it out. They need to start being more reliable from the perimeter, because they're both stretch bigs. And Keaton Wagler will do Keaton Wagler stuff. I mean, Wagler is sensational, but he can't be the one. You know, Illinois needs that second option too. So will Stojakovic emerge back? I mean, Kylan Boswell, he's been playing well, but he's got to step up a little bit more too. So yeah, there's a lot of things there. Iowa State, it's just, there's a little too much inconsistency with them, because they just lost the game at home to Texas Tech without JT Toppin by 11 on Saturday. That's kind of a head scratcher. So that game kind of makes me think that even though they got the top 20 defense and offense, I just don't see this Iowa State team being a team who can beat, like, a 1 seed or a 3 seed in the tournament. They actually might be a 3 seed themselves after that loss. So yeah, I don't know if I can see that Iowa State team being like a formidable team who can make it to a Final Four. I think that's a team who would get tripped up in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. Purdue, I don't know what's going on with the Boilermakers. So they lost at home. They lost their 4th game at Mackey Arena on Thursday night to Michigan State, and then followed it up with a road loss to 17-11 Ohio State. Bad week for the Boilermakers. I mean, Purdue has a lot of weaknesses. They got a very good offense, but they have a lot of weaknesses, especially on the defensive end. So I don't think I see Purdue getting past the Sweet 16 this year, even though they entered as the number 1 overall seed, or the AP number 1 preseason. That doesn't mean anything, by the way, because North Carolina was the preseason number 1, I think, 2 years ago, and they didn't make the tournament. So, or was it last year? It might have been last year when they snuck in as the 11 seed in the first 4. Regardless. So, yeah, Purdue, I think, is a team that probably is out in the Sweet 16. Michigan State, there's just too many offensive inconsistencies. I can't see the Spartans winning a national championship. Nebraska just doesn't have the offense. They don't have the offense at all. They obviously defense wins championships, but when you look at a game like Iowa where they lost on the road when they only scored like 51 points, that's not going to win. That's not going to win you a national championship in March. Gonzaga, I don't like the offense. I don't like the offense at all. Honestly, this could be another year where Gonzaga gets bounced in the first weekend. They'll probably win a first round game, but after their loss to St. Mary's on Saturday night, I think Gonzaga's now slid down to the 4 or 5 line. So they'll have to play a 4 or a 5 seed to make it to the Sweet 16. And I don't know if I trust Gonzaga to win a game in that kind of situation. Texas Tech, even though they had the win against Iowa State on Saturday, I mean, great for them. I just don't see them being able to make a run to a Final Four without JT Toppin, because they're going to need that dominant presence down low. They shot the lights out of the basketball on Saturday. I don't see a way in which Texas Tech is able to make a run to the Final Four. I just don't. They got some defensive issues as well. Kansas, the offense. I mean, the offense just won't be able to do it. I mean, Arizona beat Kansas by 21, I believe it was, on Saturday. So I just don't see Kansas being able to do it. And then that's probably where I'll cut it off for now, just because the rest of the compound is kind of a hodgepodge of things. But so yeah, I think the teams that are right on the doorstep of who could be involved in that conversation: Illinois, Iowa State, and just because it's Tom Izzo, I will throw Michigan State in that conversation. Just because it's Tom Izzo, I will throw Michigan State in that conversation. And then I think I'll put Kansas in there as well. I think those are the 4 teams who are right on the doorstep of being able to contend for a national title, but they're not among the 6 who I think can win 6 in the tournament. So that is that. So yeah, I forgot to change that, but so let's wrap things up today by talking about the new men's basketball AP poll. Obviously, this comes out every Monday, the first AP poll of March, and I will share my screen with you guys here so you can see that. I won't mess this up this time. I'll actually make sure to put it on the screen. There we go. So yeah, there's the new AP poll. Duke stays at number 1. Arizona stays at 2. Michigan stays at 3. UConn up to 4. Florida keeps on rising up and rising up. I mean, the Gators are playing some phenomenal basketball right now. And when you look at that, also another reason why Florida can definitely do it again, that front court of Chinyelu and Conlon starting lineup, then you got Handlockton coming in off the bench. It's just like, it is relentless. I mean, Florida beat Arkansas, what was it, 111-77 on Saturday? Arkansas is the second best team in the league. Arkansas is the second best team in the Southeastern Conference, and Florida beat them by 34 at home. Like, the Gators are playing on a different level right now. And if I'm not mistaken, Florida has now won 14 of its last 15. I want to check my math here and make sure that's correct. Wait, no. I'm going backwards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've won 9 straight games. Florida's won 9 straight games. And before that, it was a loss to Auburn at home, which was a head scratcher. Weird game for Florida. But then they had 5 straight wins before that. So Florida has, it's 15 less 16 games. Florida's won. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 less 15, Florida's won. 14 less 15 games, Florida's won. Todd Golden has his guys playing on a different level right now. So the Gators are definitely going to be a team who absolutely can win it all. Absolutely. Just because they know how to do it. And Xavier Lee is finally coming into the role that Florida hoped he would be. Boogie Flant's playing very well. But that front court, man, sheesh. And then Thomas Houck, too. I mean, he's an X factor. Florida is a dangerous team. They're going to be picked a lot in brackets to go to the Final Four once again, if not win it all. I picked Florida to win it all last year. I was right. I can see myself picking them again if they keep playing the way they have been. Iowa State at 6. So tonight on Monday, you'll have Iowa State at Arizona. That's going to be a phenomenal game. Another just banger of a game on a Monday in the Big 12. Houston to 7. They stay in the top 10 after the 3-game losing streak, but retain the spot in the top 10 after the win over Colorado, the big win over Colorado on Saturday. Michigan State jumps into the top 10 after a couple road wins this week at Mackey Arena and then in Bloomington against Indiana. They won that game by 13 yesterday. Nebraska at 9, Texas Tech at 10, following the win over Iowa State on the road on Saturday. Illinois drops to 11, following the one lone loss this week to Michigan. Gonzaga at 12. I still think the next 4 behind them should be ranked ahead of Gonzaga. They lost a really weird game to St. Mary's by 11 on Saturday night. I'm not saying that St. Mary's isn't a slouch of a team. St. Mary's is good. I mean, they're ranked 21st this week. They deserve to be ranked. But yeah, I think there's way too much respect for Gonzaga at 12 right now. I'd rank Virginia over them. I'd rank Kansas over them. I'd rank Purdue over them. I'd rank Alabama over Gonzaga. I would. I think Gonzaga should be where Alabama is. I think they'd be fine at 16. North Carolina, St. John's. That's kind of funny. Both Miamis are ranked now. That's kind of funny. I like that. That's really funny. But the Red Hawks still undefeated, going for a perfect regular season this week. Games against Toledo and Ohio this week, I believe it is, for the undefeated Red Hawks. Yeah, Toledo tomorrow, and then at Ohio to try and go 31-0 this week for the Miami Red Hawks. Pretty exciting stuff for the boys out of Oxford, Ohio. And St. Louis back in at 25. So that is that for the new men's basketball AP poll. But yeah, a lot of good games coming up this week. Like I said, tonight things get started with that matchup in Tucson between Iowa State and Arizona. That's at 9 Eastern on ESPN. And yeah, things are coming down the stretch. It's the final week of the regular season for every team. And like I said, conference championships do begin this weekend. 7 will be crowned by this time. Well, by the end of this day next week. And then all of next week is just full on conference championships. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Noteworthy in the NCAA. Appreciate you joining us on this Monday afternoon once again. The best month of the year is here. Enjoy it. March is upon us, and it's a great time to be a college basketball fan. So we'll catch you back here next Monday, same time. And for now, I'm Will Charlton. Catch you guys later.